Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, everybody, I should say. So used to doing these in the morning that I said good morning. Hope everybody's doing great, and hope everybody can hear me well. And we're going to get started here on our first Notary Town Hall of 2024. Before we get started, Carrie, can you hear me okay? Am I coming through?
10-4, yep. And I made the same mistake. I said good morning earlier when I talked.
Fantastic. Well, hey, we all do that. Hey, so thanks for joining, everybody. And if you could, while you're on here, just make sure you mute that microphone so that everybody's not hearing any background noise that might be on your end or conversations you may be having. The town hall here is recorded. The recording is going to be posted online on our website later by joining the town hall. As the message in the email said, you're consenting to being on the recording of this town hall. And usually within a few days, this will get posted online. With me, Carrie and Gurley, one of our notary officers. She's going to manage that chat feature on the side. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to drop them in that chat box. She's going to answer some of them. She may save some for the end if she senses a theme. We'll take some questions at the end as well. This town hall today is going to talk about either becoming a notary or renewing your notary commission. Most of you on here probably already are a notary, or maybe once were a notary and are thinking about becoming a notary again. So we're going to talk about just the basic process by which that happens. And that'll be the focus of today's town hall. As you probably saw in the email, we have some other town halls scheduled for later this year. The tentative dates, those will likely be the dates, but if they're changed, obviously, you'll get notified of that in the emails we send inviting folks to these town halls of any potential change to a schedule that may occur. But take a look at that email for the list of future town halls that we'll have to discuss various items related to being a notary. And just another disclosure, important distinction, the town hall here is not a substitute for a course of study. It is not the course of study. There's a lot more to being a notary than we're going to talk about today. We're not even going to talk about that so much. We're just going to talk about how to become or renew. How to become a notary or renew that commission. So we'll have different town hall topics about different things that notaries need to know or be aware of or do as the year goes on. Again, mute yourself. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Glad to see so many people joined us today. With me here also is our Deputy Secretary of State, Michael Laurie. Michael, if you're on and you want to say a few words before we get started, please do.
Great. Thank you so much. Real briefly, I see we're over 250 people. That's great. I know a lot of people watch the webinar. Thank you, first of all. To be commissioned, obviously, you need to go through a few more steps if you're not already commissioned. It's a historic privilege, and I want to first thank our team, Mike and Carrie Ann especially. They are hardworking, passionate, diligent. They have the answers to your questions. Don't overload them with questions, but they'll get back to you. And I promise you're probably going to be very satisfied with what they do get back to you with, because we've heard rave reviews. So I want to leave it with that. You're in great hands. This is an opportunity to serve the state of Maryland and your communities. This is a position for people who've demonstrated integrity. It's a really important function for our society. It's a privilege that's bestowed upon you to help with really a governmental process to ensure that these documents, and not just is it a critical function, but you serve the needs of many, and especially underserved communities. I know it's really vital that we have notaries throughout the state available, and we're here to help you. We're here to serve you in many ways as well. Just be patient. It's a small staff. We're small but mighty, I like to say. And Mike especially has a lot of institutional knowledge here. He's experienced a lot of different problems in the past. There are new technologies, there are new opportunities for you to make money. We want to encourage that. But again, this is a privilege, an opportunity to serve, and we thank you for that. So have a good webinar.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate you joining us here. And yeah, so we're gonna get started here, and just again talk about kind of how the process works, how you qualify, or what the qualifications are, how you become a notary, and those of you who have done this in the last 9 months have noticed that the online application looks a little different than the last time you renewed or applied. And that's because it's a newer system, and I'll talk about a few of the things where that benefits us as we go throughout this process, and the commissioning process in particular, where it helps you out. Just a few things here. Sources of legal authority you see on the screen. I won't read every word here. Notary public is actually found in the state's constitution, and then the laws that govern most of what we're doing here with commissioning, and then what you're doing every day as a notary, are found in the Annotated Code of Maryland, Title 18, Subtitles 1 and 2, and the Code of Maryland Regulations, which the citation there is 01.02, 0.08, then 0.01 through 17 are all the different regulations. So getting started here, just what are the qualifications to become a notary? What do you need to be in order to get approved at a basic level here? First and foremost, at least 18 years of age. Other qualifications include good moral character and integrity. And as the deputy secretary said, it's an important position, and you have an important role, and one an important role, and one that requires that character and integrity to do. Resident of Maryland or employed or have a practice in Maryland. What does that mean? Well, resident of Maryland means just that, right? You're a resident of Maryland. If you're a resident of Maryland, you probably got a Maryland driver's license with a Maryland address on it. You know, where you have you're employed or have a practice in the state. So you're employed in the state of Maryland. You work in Maryland, in the state of Maryland, or you have a practice in the state of Maryland. So maybe a profession that requires you to do some amount of that profession here in Maryland. So those are the qualifications to become a notary. Every now and then we run into situations where somebody wants to be a notary in Maryland, but just doesn't live in Maryland, doesn't work in Maryland, and doesn't have a, you know, they're not employed, or they don't have a practice in the state of Maryland. And the answer usually is, well, I want to be a notary. That's going to be my practice. But the way the law is worded, you need to be a resident of the state, be employed in the state, or have a practice in the state in order to become a notary. Some an important distinction there. So in Maryland, if you're living here, this will make more sense on the application when you see one, or if you fill one out. You're the resident of a senatorial district from which you're appointed. So your Maryland State Legislative District will determine, if you are a new applicant, how that workflow works to get approved. And if you live out of the state but work in the state or have a practice in the state, you're able to be a Maryland notary as long as your state allows a Maryland resident to be a notary there under their certain conditions. Also, to renew, you're going to renew your commission. If you're going to do that, you have to do it up to 60 days prior to your expiration, or up to 30 days after your current expiration date. So if you're currently a notary and you expire soon, that renewal window will open up 60 days before your expiration date, and it closes 30 days after your expiration date. So you really have a 90-day renewal window in which you can renew your notary commission. A couple other things that are relatively new, not so new anymore, but we have that on here because some of you may not have had to go through this yet. As of October 1st, 2021, if you are an initial applicant, if you are filing a new notary application, in other words, you've never been a notary before, or your commission expired and you did not submit your renewal application in time, you have to pass a course of study, complete a course of study and pass an examination. It says offered by the Secretary of State, but really we have designated course of study and exam providers that are on our website and that you can select from. And if you're a renewing applicant, you have to complete a course of study. You don't have to pass the examination as a renewal, but you need to complete a course, and there are several options to choose from, some in person, many online options. And I encourage you when you're taking those renewal courses to pay attention and don't try to get through too quickly. Those of you that haven't renewed in the last few years, hopefully you're aware of, but maybe you're not aware of, the law changed a lot in October of 2020 and has changed a little more since October of 2020, including the education requirement in October 21 and a few other things that have changed along the way. So a lot is different in the last 3 years. And you want to make sure you're aware of those things, and these courses cover those basic things that you need to know as a notary. So make sure you're paying attention when you take them, because if you're taking that renewal course, you need to know those things before you start notarizing again. And you're responsible to know those. And it is an important position of public trust, like our Deputy Secretary said. So you're trusted to do a job honestly and with integrity, but you're trusted to know what your role is and what the requirements are as well. You are an officer of the state of Maryland when you're acting as a notary. Important to keep that in mind. So preparing to apply and processing time, things you want to know about, things you want to think about, things you want to have before you try to apply or renew. And you'll see this is a screenshot of what the new online notary application portal looks like. When you go to the page where you can apply or renew, you'll notice a bunch of different icons there. Some of these terms are probably very familiar to you, like apply for a new notary commission. If you're not renewing, you're applying as new. If your commission is still active and you're going to renew, you click on that renewal icon to renew your notary commission. If you're outside of your renewal window, it's not going to let you renew. If it's because you're too late, you need to go file a new application. If it's because you're too early, you just can't renew yet, more than 60 days out. You can still update your notary information. You can still check the status of an application you've submitted. Turnaround time on those notary apps tend to be a lot faster these days. And like I said, I'll touch on why here on a few later screens. A couple other things you can do now. Once you are commissioned as a notary, you can submit your remote notary notification. It says apply for remote notary on the icon, but you can notify us of any intent to perform remote notarial acts, whether on tangible records or electronic records or both. There's a whole town hall posted on the notary page of our website from the fall of 2023 that talks about remote notarizations and, at a broad level, what it is and how to become a remote notary or become authorized to perform remote notarial acts. And you can also search the Notary Public Database. Certain information about notaries is public information, namely your name, your basic commission data like issue, qualification, expiration date, and your business address and business phone, and now even your business email address are all public information. And if you do not have a business address or business phone or business email address, the home phone or home address or home email address, personal email address, become public information. So important to keep all your data current and up to date with us, especially if you don't want somebody having that home address info. Need to make sure you have a valid work address on file with us. So take the course of study, and if you're a new applicant, pass that exam. So you're going to need to select a course of study, an exam provider that's best for you. The provider's courses, they vary in price. Many have an online option. Some have in-person option. It's really up to you to decide which one you want to take. Anybody any provider that's on this list is an acceptable provider and will satisfy the requirement of taking the authorized course of study and of a new applicant examination. So that's the link to the list. And, you can find where I have these links on here, the main notary page on our website. If you go to sos.maryland, spelled out, .gov, and then you click on the Notary Public tab towards the top of the page, that's the main notary landing page for our website. This link is right there on that main notary landing page, along with a lot of other information. So, and the reason I want to drive that home is we get a lot of questions about, hey, who are the course of study providers? And, they're right here on this list. And then people look at that list and they kind of aren't sure what to do, or they just pick a random one. And, you really, like, you're buying something else, you want to do a quick little look and see, which one works best for you and your situation. But they're all acceptable. And you got to take the course, and then if you're a new applicant, pass the exam. And when you do those, you're going to get certificates of completion and a certificate of passing. If you get a course, you get a certificate of completion. If you pass the exam, you'll get a certificate of passing for the exam. And you'll need those certificates when you're filling out your new or renewing notary application. So you're going to select from that authorized list of course and exam providers. And again, they're there. There are options because not every person is the same. Again, some people learn better in person. Some can excel in an online program. Some need it to kind of be on their own time rather than in a set time. So study those options and pick the one that's right for you. And then you apply, and ultimately you're responsible for taking that course and completing that course and getting that certificate. So again, new applicants are taking the course and passing the exam, and renewals are just going to complete the course. If you're a new applicant, you're going to end up with 2 certificates, one for the course, one for the exam. And if you're renewing, you're going to end up with 1 certificate for completing the course. And so a few things. So you've taken your course of study. If you're a new applicant, you've passed your exam, hopefully. And now you're going to go think about filing that new or renewing notary application. And so before you start that application, there's a few things you want to think about, or need to know or have before you do your application. Obviously, I just talked a while about the course of study and the exam providers and taking that before you do your application. You're going to want to become familiar with and understand the notary handbook in its entirety. The course is designed to do that for you. It's there to help you. If you read and you stay tuned in and you stay focused, you're going to learn the elements of the handbook and the law and the regulations so that you can better understand what it is you're doing as a notary public, so that you're doing the right thing when you are commissioned. A lot of resources, we'll call them here, for notaries. The handbook, you have to order it. There's a link for ordering it. The second link there is a direct link to where you can look up the law, the statutes. And you can look up any law at that link. It doesn't have to just be notary law. You got a question about another section of law, and you can look up that section of law on that website. Code of Maryland regulations link. You can look up the regulations specific to being a notary. There's a new notary application. Oh man, that's the wrong link. New notary application page. We'll have to throw that link out in the chat. Carrie, if you could throw the link to the new notary application information page on our website in the chat box, that'd be great. I just realized that link is an expired link. The renewal application link and the FAQs as well. A lot of FAQs on there. We get asked a lot of questions. There's a lot of question and answer on the FAQ. Things to think about as well. Notary application, it's time limited. That's a security measure. If you're inactive for more than 30 minutes, you're going to get booted out. It says information loss. You should be able to pick up where you left off at, but you could get booted. And so just have your information ready before you start. That way you don't run out of, you don't sit inactive for more than it's not, you don't have, you have more than 30 minutes to complete it. You just cannot be inactive for more than 30 consecutive minutes before it'll kind of tune out on it. You're going to want to know the legislative district where you reside if you're a Maryland resident. That website, mdelect.net, you can punch in your home address and find out what legislative district you live in, who your state senator is. You really need that if you're a new applicant, because that's going to impact the workflow of your new application and who reviews it and how it gets reviewed. You're going to want to know that. I mean, really just, you know, as a basic level of civics and engagement, you want to know who your elected officials are anyway, right? You want to know what legislative district you live in, who your state senator, who your state delegates are. So even if you're not doing it because you're submitting a notary application, if you're curious to who your elected officials are based on where you live, it's a great website to go check that out. And we're looking for your state senator, not the United States senators for the state of Maryland. We're looking for your state senator. There's 47 legislative districts in Maryland. Your state senator is one of those 47 senators from your respective legislative district. So not the U.S. state senators that you think about down in D.C. that are representing Maryland, but your actual state senators here that are in the state Senate. So some more information to gather before you begin. You're going to be asked, if you're a new applicant, to provide some references. We're going to need their name, address, phone number, current email. Make sure they're legit email addresses, please. You know, always enjoy folks that give us a bad email address, and then we reach out to those references, and inevitably nobody responds. And then nobody responds, and in 30 days that application's denied because the references didn't respond, and then later the person's reaching out wondering why their application was denied. Give us good email addresses. Give us real email addresses, right? Nunya@nunyabusiness.com, not a good email address. Not going to help you get approved. Always amazed at how many times we see stuff like that. Also, a digital image of the applicant's driver's license or valid government ID that's issued that's going to verify the applicant's home address. So when you're doing a notary application, we're looking for your driver's license or non-driver state ID card because it's verifying where you live. The reason we ask for that ID, a copy of that on your application to be uploaded, is we're trying to verify you are who you say you are and you live where you say you live. So a passport doesn't have your home address. We're not talking about how you identify signers when you are a notary. We're just talking about you, the notary or notary applicant, submitting your new or renewal application. So when you're submitting that application, you're going to give us a digital copy of that ID. You're going to upload it to the application. So you want to have that handy before you start. If the address on your driver's license doesn't match the home address on your notary application, you're going to want to also give us a copy of your MVA change of address card. And if your home address doesn't match the address on your driver's license, you should have an MVA change of address card. I don't remember what the MVA regulation or law is, but I want to say it's something like 30 days or something after you move. You need to update your address with the MVA. So if you've moved and you haven't changed your address with the MVA, you should do that because you're supposed to do that anyway, but also because we're going to be trying to get an address that matches your legal address that the state of Maryland has. The application fee is $25. It's payable by credit card. And then we talked about the certificate of completion of the course. And if you're a new applicant, you need to have your exam passing certificate, and you're going to upload those as well. So all this information you want to have before you get into an application. If you're a new applicant, you need to know all these things before you get started, have all these things before you get started. If you're a renewal applicant, you don't need to have your references, but you need to have the rest of the stuff. in order to be able to successfully complete your renewal application. So a few things to know about the notary application, the approval process. You're going to complete that online application at that link right there, mdsos2.mysite.com/s. That is linked on our website on a couple of places. If you were to click on that link, this is what you're going to see when you get there. And you'll, like I said, if you're doing a new app, you'll click on that. If you're doing a renewal, you'll click on that. And then you'll get started. So clicking the right icon, depending on whether you're a new application or renewing application, you're going to complete your application. We're going to receive it immediately after it's completed. You're going to complete the application, pay the application fee at the end, and it's going to be submitted. We're going to get that pretty much immediately, and that review process is going to begin by the next business day. It may begin the same business day we get it. Depends on how many other applications have come in during that day or overnight the night before. But we're usually looking at it by the next business day at the latest. Pretty quick start and turnaround of these things. They're not sitting around for days or weeks on end waiting for us to pick them up. We've begun that process maybe the same day, but definitely by the next business day. I can't think of too many occasions where that's not the case anymore. One of the things we're going to do when we're reviewing your application, other than ensuring that it is complete and ensuring that the certificates you attach are from an authorized course of study provider, an authorized course and exam provider if you're a new applicant, is we're going to check background. And we're trying to find out, have you ever been convicted of a crime? We ask you that question on the exam. If the answer is yes, check yes, disclose it and explain it. Easiest way to have a hard time on your notary application is to say no when the answer is yes. Because now you've given us an answer that's not true, and that notary commission, that's, good moral character and integrity, one of the requirements. Lying on an application is not a good way to demonstrate good moral character and integrity, right? So if the answer is yes, say yes and explain it. Might mean you get denied, you might still get approved, depends on what it is, right? And I'm not going to go through the whole list of every crime that could ever be occurred and how long ago and whether or not you get approved. Really depends on the totality of the information we have and everything else. So, but I can tell you, if you say no when the answer is yes, a lot less chance of getting approved, right? So if the answer is yes, say it and disclose it, explain what it is, what should we know about that conviction and what happened, and so that we could understand what happened. And we can make an informed decision on whether or not we should approve that notary application. And, be honest and be truthful. Same thing with civil judgments. What's a civil judgment? Nobody ever sued you, and you lost. Important thing, disclose, yes. Now we're only asking about civil judgments in the last 7 years. Convicted of a crime? Ever. Civil judgments against you, last 7 years only. So again, check yes, disclose it and explain it. If it was more than 7 years ago, you don't have to check yes anymore for civil judgments. Again, for a crime, if you've ever been convicted, you check yes. Even if you checked yes to your last app, you still got to check yes this time. Some folks will tell us, oh, I checked yes on my last application, and they did. I didn't think I had to check it again. Well, check it every time, because the question is, the way it's asked is, have you ever been convicted of a crime? So the answer, if it was yes before, it's still yes now for the crime thing, the crime question. The other thing, it asks you, have you ever had a notary commission revoked? If the answer is yes, say yes and explain. Don't fudge that one either. Again, Easy questions, yes or no, answer them honestly and answer them truthfully, because if you don't answer them truthfully, it's a lot harder for us to be able to approve somebody for a position that requires trust and integrity and honesty. Reference checks by us or by your state senator's office. So I mentioned earlier there's 47 legislative districts in Maryland, which means there's 47 state senators. Some senators still review the notary applications. Some senators opt out of the review process and designate their authority to us to review and make determination as to whether or not to approve or deny a notary application. So if you live in a legislative district where your state senator still wants to review those notary applications, they're going to be the ones that task with reviewing that application. They may contact your references by phone or mail or email, however they want to do it. They're the ones that do that review process. If your state senator's office opts out of that process, they're designating authority to us at the Secretary of State's office. And if we have the authority designated to us for your notary application, we're going to be contacting those references by email. They're going to get an email from the online filing system asking questions for your reference to fill out. Make sure they know their reference on a notary application. I've been listed as a reference for people before, not for notaries per se, but for jobs and other stuff. And it's always good to know you're listed as a reference before somebody calls you and asks you to give a reference. Make sure your references know they might be getting an email from us or from a state senator's office about your notary application, so they know to look for it, so they know to check their spam folder if they don't see it, so they respond in a timely manner and your application doesn't get held up because the reference didn't respond. And then determination. We're going to make a determination, or your state senator's office, depending on who's reviewing that app, is going to make a determination. And if that determination is the notary application should be denied, you're going to get a notification of the denial. It's going to come to you by email. And if your notary application for new or renewal has been approved, we're going to issue a commission to the clerk of the circuit court, and you're going to be notified of that approval by email. Those notifications of approval have been coming by email for probably close to a decade now. I don't remember the exact date that started, but it's been about a decade. Folks will still say, I'm waiting. I've been checking my mail and I haven't got my postcard to go to the courthouse yet. That hasn't happened in about a decade. You're going to get a notification and it's going to be by email. All that communication is electronic from our office, and it should go to your personal email address that's on file, not your business one, but your personal email address is where we're going to send you a communication about being approved or denied. So make sure we have an email address that you actually check, and use. And I know that sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised, or maybe not. But I'm always surprised at how many people go, oh, I don't use that email address. But that's what you put on your application. Make sure it's an email address that you actually use and that you're actually checking regularly. Because most of these new applications, renewal applications, 1, 2, 3 days tops, and they should be turned around unless there's a problem. And if there's a problem, we've already reached out to you. So if you're renewing, it doesn't take but 2, 3 days usually. Very rarely does it take longer to get your renewal application approved if it was completed and there's no issues. New applications, they don't take much longer. The senators' offices that are reviewing these, they stay opted in to review them. They want to review them. They're pretty timely with their reviews. So we're not talking about new applications taking 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks anymore. We're talking usually within a week your new application's getting approved still. Unless there's an issue. So be on the lookout. Don't wait 6 months to check the status. Check after a week, check after 2 weeks. But definitely don't wait more than a month to check the status of an application. Why do I say that? We'll talk about it in a second here. When your commission's issued, you only get 30 days to appear at the clerk of the court's office and get sworn in. So if you wait more than a month, you've waited more than 30 days. What if your renewal is approved the next day? Now,
Can't hear you.
You're muted.
oh wow, who muted me? That was weird. I'll go back to that then for a sec. If your commission was approved, you have 30 days to get sworn in. So make sure when you're checking the application statuses, make sure you're not waiting a month to check them. Make sure you're checking it within a couple weeks. Because if you wait more than a month, your commission may have been approved more than a month ago and already gone to the courthouse, expired, and now you have to reapply if you've waited more than 30 days to check your application status. So don't just wait around. It's not taking 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. If you're a new or a renewal, you're usually approved within a week or two for news, and renewals usually within a couple of days, 2-3 days tops. You're approved unless there's an issue. So if you don't see that approval email or that denial email, especially for renewals, within a week, check in, because you should have gotten something from us, one email, one way or another. Hey, there's a problem on your app. We have a question, or hey, it's denied, or hey, it's approved. But you're going to get something from us, especially if you're a renewal, within a week, letting you know what the next thing is. So don't wait forever to check. Life comes at you fast. Things happen, and the next thing you know, you've forgotten about the application. I get it. We've all had things that come up, and it distracts you for a while, and you come back to it when you're thinking about it again, and try to avoid that as much as we can. So it's just talking about time frames again, 2 to 3 business days. If the senator's office reviews it, it's up to them as to how long it takes to approve it, but it's usually not taking more than a week or two for them to review and approve it, unless something's wrong. And again, you can check the status of your application right there on our website on the Notary application page, and check in. Again, if you haven't heard anything in a week, check the status of the application. If there's no update there, check with us. Make sure nothing's wrong that we're missing or something's missing there. And but check in, be proactive. I say this, I think I speak for all of us here. We'd much rather you check in when you haven't heard something, rather than sit around and assume all is good and assume you're going to hear. Then months go by, then it's too late. And then the commission was already issued and it's been revoked because it was there too long, and then you got to reapply. Not fun for anybody. Not fun for you. Not fun for us. We don't enjoy that either. But the law stipulates you have 30 days to get sworn in. We're going to talk about that a little bit here on this page. So,
Hey, Mike, can I interject for just a sec?
Sure thing.
I keep getting the same recurring question, and I'd like you to address it before we go any further. It's the timeline on when they should take the required course of study.
Okay, great question. Within your renewal window. Short answer is within your renewal window. Take the course of study. If your commission's going to expire 60 days from now, you get your renewal email or something saying, hey, it's about time to renew your commission. Even if you don't see the renewal email, and if you're notarizing on the regular, you know when your expiration is because you put it on every notarization, right? So if you're coming up for renewal, take that renewal course, but take it, generally speaking, within the renewal window. If you don't expire till 2026, don't take the renewal course now, right? That's 2 years from now. The law may change in those 2 years. And if for those of you that have been following notary law and notary regulation, it's changed a lot in the last 4 years. Last 3.5 years, really, it's changed a lot. And if you count the emergency stuff that was allowed at the beginning of the COVID state of emergency, in the last 4 years, it's changed a ton. So you're taking that renewal course right before or in your renewal window, not long before it. Why? Because the law changes the regs change. And if you're taking a course now and you don't expire for 2 years, well, that course may not do you any good because the law may have changed again. So you're taking it during your renewal window so that it's close to your expiration and close to when you renew, so you are the most up-to-date as possible with your course of study that you are using to facilitate your renewal. So great question. Thanks, Carrie Ann, for interjecting there. During the renewal window, maybe right before it, but really just during it. All right. So my notary application was approved. What's going to happen next? So you're going to get notified by email about that determination. Go into that personal email address on record that you provided on your notary application. The one that you provided, again, make sure it's one you're actually going to check. The email contains instructions on how to appear before the clerk of the circuit court to be sworn in and receive your notary commission. The email tells you all you need to know about where to go get sworn in. You have 30 days to do it, what to take with you. That stuff is in that email. Read that whole email. Read that whole email. That data, that information is there. Make sure you're paying attention to it. The good thing about it is the moment we click approve, or the moment your senator's office clicks approve, is the moment you get the email telling you that you are approved. You don't have to wait till the end of the day till we press the magic button, so to speak. In this new system, the moment your application's approved is the moment you get the email from the system telling you it has been approved, and that email is the email that tells you to go to the clerk of the circuit court in the county in which you're going to be sworn in. If you live in Maryland, it's going to be the county in which you live in. So if you live in, I'm here in Annapolis right now. If you live in Anne Arundel County, it's going to tell you to go get sworn in Anne Arundel County. So you're going to go to the clerk of the court that we tell you to go to get sworn in and receive your next notary commission or your first notary commission. It's going to tell you have 30 days to go do it. Right? If you have any questions about when that clerk of the court's open, or I don't know, maybe parking, or do I need an appointment, you reach out to that clerk's office. Hey, I got an email. My commission's been approved. I have to come down and get sworn in. You know, can I come whenever? Do I have to come at a certain time? You can reach out to them and ask. But you must take that oath of office in order to actually be a notary. If your application was approved and you don't go take office and receive your commission, you are not a notary. You have to get sworn in every time you renew. If you were a new applicant last time and you got your commission issued and you got sworn in and you're renewing now, you still have to get sworn in for your next commission. Every time you get a new commission, you have to go get sworn in and take the oath of office for that commission. That's another one that gets me sometimes. Folks that have been notaries for, 20, 30 years, they've renewed 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And then for whatever reason, this time they didn't think they had to go take the oath of office. Every time you get a new commission or a renewal commission, you have to go take the oath. Every time. I know I'm driving that point home, but I'm doing that on purpose every time. You must get sworn in within 30 days of the issue date of the commission. That issue date is the same date as we sent that first approval email. So if we sent you an approval email today, you have 30 days from today to appear at the clerk of the court's office, take the oath of office, and receive that commission. Now, a few things about that. It used to be in the old system, so up to about June of last year, when we issued a commission, it told you to wait 7 to 10 days before you went to the clerk of the court to go get it. The moment you get that email now is the moment your clerk has your commission and can swear you in. You do not have to wait anymore. If you got an approval email at this second, you could drive down to the court, if they're open at the time you get there, or don't require an appointment, and get sworn in right away. Because the moment we approve it and you get that email, your commission shows up in their queue in the online system, and they have access to it, and they know you've been approved, and they can swear you in. It used to be you had to wait 7 to 10 days, and what would happen in those 7 to 10 days? Life would happen, you get busy, you forget, you know, it's kind of one of those hurry up and wait things. You get approved, then you had to wait, then you had to remember, though, after the 7 to 10 days to still go to the clerk of the court and get sworn in within 30. Well, now you could just go. You could just go. You don't have to wait a week anymore after you were approved to go down and get sworn in. You can go do it later that afternoon. You can do it the next day. They have your commission. The moment you've been approved and you get that email, your clerk of the court, where you have to go get sworn in, is aware of your approval and that your commission's been issued to them. So it really cuts down on some of that lag time. And hopefully this new system will also cut down on some of that, I forgot. I had to wait. I waited. I forgot. Life happened, Mike. Hey, trust me, we know we live it every day. We're people too. It stinks when it does. So hopefully this will help you be able to get on it quicker and not kind of have life pass you by and forget about it. Because if it's been there more than 30 days, it's revoked. You have to reapply. And again, I say that we don't like it either, but it's the law. It is the law, right? We expect you to follow the law. We're going to follow the law as well. We don't like having those conversations any more than you like having that conversation with us. They're no fun for anybody. Help us help you get there and get sworn in time. But hopefully the system will be a step in the right direction, allowing that now that you can just go down as soon as you're approved. You don't have to wait 7 to 10 days. You don't have to hope it gets, you know, if we mail it, we don't mail it anymore. It's there electronically, right? So you don't have to hope the mail arrives or it gets to the right person when it gets there. It's just there in the system, and you go there and get sworn in and you get it. So you're going to go again to the clerk of the court where your commission. It's going to tell you on your approval email where that is. You take the oath of office and you obtain your commission at the clerk's office. You're an officer of the state of Maryland. That's why you're taking an oath of office. If you're living in Maryland, you're going to the clerk in the county where you reside. If you don't live in Maryland, you're going to get designated a county clerk of the court to go to get sworn in. You're going to pay a $11 fee to the clerk of the court to get sworn in. I'll call it a commissioning fee for simplicity's sake. That's a different fee than your application fee. It's not paid to us. That gets paid to the clerk of the circuit court. Again, you got to get sworn in within 30 days. And if you don't, you're going to have to reapply. Now, one other little bell and whistle with this new system. When you get sworn in at the clerk of the court's office, they plug in your qualification date, the date on which you were sworn in, into the system now. And when they do that, you get your commission emailed to you. So it used to be that we'd print it and we'd mail it, and they'd hand you one. Now we don't have to print it and mail it anymore. It's there as soon as we approve it. It's in their queue to swear you in. And when you get sworn in, they plug in your qualification date into the system, and your commission is emailed to you. Now you have an electronic copy to save and keep in your records. And it's there, right? You get it emailed to you. So you know when your qualification date's entered because that's when your commission is emailed to you. If you go to the courthouse and get sworn in and you don't see that commission come to you by email, either right then or a little later that day, reach out to us and let us know. Maybe there's something wrong with the coding in the system or something. The system's great, but it's used by people and people make mistakes. So it's always possible that could happen just the same. But this cuts down on a lot of that. It cuts down on the turnaround of things. The other good thing about the clerk entering that qualification date into the system is the moment they issue that qualification date into the system and you get that email saying, here's your commission, you also now appear on our website on the notary search page as a current notary. So it happens in real time. And that's beneficial because I know some of you are waiting to appear. Somebody might need to verify or validate that you are in fact commissioned as a notary for a job or maybe to apply for remote notary status, that type of stuff. Well, now it happens right away. You know, in the previous system world, the clerk would note their stuff, and then they'd send us a report of all the qualification dates in their county for the last week or 2 weeks or month, and then we'd plug it in, and you kind of had duplicative manual processes. And, you know, even if the clerk gets it right, we may have a typo or get it wrong or miss it or something like that. So now it's all in one unified system. The qualification date's in there. The moment it's in there is the moment you show up online. And, you know, clerks to the court have been instrumental in making this new system work and streamlining this process and improving it for folks. So can't thank them enough for participating in it with us. But ultimately, you know, we think it serves not just us and them, but it serves you, the notary, as well, to have this stuff turn around a little quicker, get to the courthouse quicker, get sworn in quicker, show up on our website as an active notary quicker. And that's really, you should notice that as you go through this time. If you haven't renewed in the last year, you should notice that when you renew again. And if, again, just show up within 30 days. Please, 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 please show up within 30 days. After appearing before the clerk and take the oath of office, you'll get your commission. I mentioned in the last slide how that happens. And again, just driving it home here, going to be provided to you by email at the email address of record that you gave us on your notary application. Once they enter that qualification date, it's signifying you've been sworn in at that clerk of the court's office, that notary system is going to automatically send you that email with your commission. And you'll have the electronic copy. You can print it, whatever paper you want. You can keep it electronic either way. You got electronic copy so you can save it. And I think one thing I noticed is we get a lot less requests for copies of commissions because you're not, you know, used to be you got handed a sheet of paper and that was it, right? Better not lose it for 4 years. I don't know about any of you, but sometimes it's hard to not lose things over 4 years, especially one sheet of paper. If you're like me, you probably misplaced something. So now you get it by email, you can save it. And as long as you remember where you saved it, you can always go back and print another copy or do whatever you need to do with that electronic copy of the commission. And when you've taken the oath of office and received your commission, you are now a notary public. So you got your oath of office completed. You get that email with your notary commission. Congrats, you're a notary public. Leave it to me for a bad segue. We go from congrats, you're a notary public to a page about enforcement, but just something that ties in with commissioning. Hopefully nobody here will ever have to worry about this, but it is a notary commission and you are an officer of the state. And just like we talked about being a person of good moral character in order to qualify, you need to stay one while you're acting as a notary. And so if something happens, misstep or misdeed, or, you know, maybe get convicted of something while you're currently a notary, whatever it is, your commission could get revoked or suspended for failing to follow the laws and the regulations and other requirements of being a notary. So we could revoke that commission. Again, hopefully we don't ever have to do that, but there's a process for that. Again, hopefully we never have to see that. And I mentioned at the beginning, certain information is public information: name, county commission, expiration date, business phone. Again, nowadays, that's all published on our website. So if somebody were to search your name and you're a notary, they could see those things right now. We're not displaying home addresses and phone numbers on the website. We're not even displaying your business address or business email on the website, although that information is public information, your business address and business email, in addition to all this. So certain things, I just mentioned what is public information at the beginning and just rounding it out here: your name, business address, business phone, business email. If you don't have a business address, home address, don't have a business phone, home phone, don't have a business email, personal email, issue and expiration dates, dates you took an oath of office, signature of the notary public. Of course, nowadays, you're filing online with your application with us. So the only real place you're signing in your application commissioning process is at your clerk's office when you sign their book when you take the oath of office. Just a quick review, certain things to become a notary here, 18, I'll say it in the short form, live or work in the state. You're an officer of the state of Maryland if you're a notary, so you're taking an oath of office. You're expected to uphold the responsibilities of that officer of the state of Maryland that the notary public is. A notary's commission could be revoked. Get there within 30 days. I've probably said that more than anything else on this town hall today. Get there within 30 days, please. Help us help you. We don't want to be in that position where you miss it, don't get sworn in, and have to reapply. Certain information is going to get posted on our website. That's what it is there. And also gather certain things before you begin your application. Make sure you have it so you don't kind of get timed out after being inactive for 30 minutes. Make sure if you've been convicted of a crime, just disclose that. Just disclose it. Explain what it is. Just because you've been convicted of a crime doesn't mean in and of itself you cannot become a notary. There's a lot of stuff that goes into, or a lot of thought that goes into that. You know, certain things will probably rule you out quicker than others, but just disclose it if the answer is yes. Don't make us find out the hard way. It's not good that way. Have your references ready. Make sure we have good contact information. Make sure the address on your application matches what the MVA has on record for you. If it's not on your driver's license or your non-driver state ID card, make sure you have the change of address card to go with it. It's funny, it's on this page too. Get sworn in within 30 days. The $11 fee you pay when you go to the clerk's office to get sworn in is different than that application fee you're paying to us. Just some helpful information here. We got, here's the good link for the new notary application page on our website. Go to that. That first link is the notary landing page on our website. You have to look up the law. You want to go find an FAQ. You want to go find a list of authorized course of study and exam providers. You want to go review the process to submit a new or renewal application. All that stuff can be found right from that notary landing page. That first link on this page is the gateway to all those other things. And I know we all know this, but just because it's on the internet doesn't make it true. If I had $1 for every time since I was in a chat room and said that I can do X, Y, and Z as a notary, not the person you want to listen to, right? Not the person. What is the Maryland law say? Because you're a Maryland notary. That person may be able to do whatever that is in another state. Notaries have mostly similar powers, but some of them can do different things. Right? Make sure you're going to the source for the information. You paid for a course to study, an exam. You can ask your teacher too, right? You're taking the course. Maybe you got a question about the info in it. They're all authorized. They're good resources as well. But that notary landing page right there, start there. Don't go to a random place on the internet where anybody can say anything. And, you know, it's a lot of information out there. Not all of it's good though, right? So make sure you go into the right places. Mentioned earlier, got some more town halls coming up this year. These are the dates that are set. Don't expect them to change, but on the off chance they do, you know, we'd send out a notification. So if you want to pencil these in on the calendar, we'll talk at length about the stamping device and journal and allowable fees next. I got a whole town hall dedicated to that. Types of notarial acts. We're going to talk about those, you know, what type of acts you perform and notarial certificates in that town hall. I think the most questions we get in general are about the topics that we're going to cover at length in these next two town halls. And so tune in if you like, and if you can't tune in, it's recorded. It's going to go on our website within a few days of occurring. So I know these are during the daytime. It's not always a time where you can hop on if you're in the middle of business and you cannot make it. You can always tune in at your leisure when it's posted within a few days to watch and absorb any information you have. And if you have questions about it, you can always reach out to us at the Notary Division. And I'll have Carrie enter the, supposed to have the Notary's email address here. My bad. dlnotary_sos@maryland.gov. Karen, if you could throw the Notary email address in the chat box for me. Letter D, letter L, the word notary _SOS@maryland.gov. You got a question about this stuff, reach out to us and ask. We like to see us succeed. We'd rather you ask up front rather than guess and hope all goes well. And that's true for an application, or you're not sure of your journal requirements or what a stamping device, i.e. notary seal, or what are you allowed to charge. Reach out and ask us. Reach out and ask us. And, we like to see you succeed. We like to see you do it right. And, these town halls are part of that. So just before we get to Q&A here, thank everybody for joining us. I appreciate everybody taking part in this town hall today. Hopefully it was informative. For those that haven't renewed since this new new online system went live at the end of last June 2023, hopefully when you renew, you have a good experience with it. And hopefully it does speed things up and help you get to the courthouse a little quicker after you've been approved, and hopefully make it a little more seamless from front to back. And, but you know where to find us if you have any issues. And again, one thing, I can't remember I mentioned at the beginning, but the content and presentation, they're provided for informational purposes only. None of this is intended to be legal advice. It is not intended to be legal advice. I'm not an attorney, can't give you legal advice. Even if I was an attorney, I'm not your attorney, still can't give you legal advice. So make sure you take it for what it is, which is informational purposes only, not legal advice. And we'll stay on here in a few minutes for questions and answers, but we'll turn off the recording at this point in time. And thank you all for joining us. And again, if anybody missed anything, this will be posted online within the next few business days. You can always rewatch it at your own leisure and time. If you want to pick something up that you think you missed, you can go back and catch it here in the next few days. And it'll get posted right on that top link, the main notary landing page for the Secretary of State's office is where that town hall is going to get posted. Thanks, everybody.